Okay, welcome to another edition of Real BatDude Reacts. We are continuing to react to Amber Heard's testimony. This is her testimony that she did on Thursday, May 5th of 2022. This is the afternoon session after lunch, and she's just got about a half hour into it. We just reviewed about a half an hour. And now she's talking about the period of May. After an airplane flight incident, she's alleging. After the Met Gala incident, she alleges. After a bad birthday party for his daughter, Lily Rose. So we're talking May, June-ish here. And she's talking about getting back together with him after she had mentally resolved to break up with him. But now he's supposedly, from her testimony, started to get, clean and sober, and she wants to take him back. So let's see what she has to continue to say about that. Okay.
What happened then? I saw his medications change. I know the amount that Johnny told them he was on was so that they could maintain him for the filming, meaning not make a drastic change in the amount of painkillers he was taking. But his behavior, his whole personality changed drastically. He would be speaking to me, and at the time I was staying in Boston with him, having wrapped my movie, and he would, in mid-sentence, mid-word, fall asleep. One time I was sitting across from him, and he would come in and out of sleep, being awake, or completely what appeared to be asleep while talking to me, and he had a cigarette in his hand, and, Johnny constantly smoked, and he just sat the cigarette, as he fell asleep, while speaking, down on his leg. They're hand-rolled cigarettes. They don't stay lit very long, thankfully. But, it was things like that, and I didn't understand it. Even though I had experience with drug use in my family, I hadn't seen anything like this. And it was so dramatic, the change, that
if her testimony is true, then he's probably on some medications to help maybe deal with or suppress some detoxification and possibly depression. And those kind of depressants sometimes, depends on what you take, may have a drowsing effect. So, poor you.
Was trying to figure out with the nurses and doctors what happened, what changed, how we could explain.
My husband, what's he doing, ma'am?
Causing it.
It's called napping.
I knew there were new medications involved.
What's he doing? Just laying there.
I was constantly.
It's called sleep.
Worried and in communication, and Johnny.
But it's making these weird breathing noises.
More.
Ma'am, that's called snoring.
Passing out, nodding off, waking up in the middle of the night, screaming, waking up in the middle of the night, sometimes crying, and the emotions.
And some medicines also give you
like
nightmares.
By the second,
I've taken simple melatonin, and it gives me nightmares. Melatonin. Over the counter. So God knows what some of the things his doctor put him on did to him.
I remember we were on a long weekend when he was filming in Boston, and we went to this like a resort retreat hotel, and he was just bawling.
He was just he was sleeping.
Hard. There was just a lot of changes, and I really didn't know.
He was starting to take regular naps.
I felt so bad for him, and I thought maybe it was just what Kipper had.
He was napping all the time.
The medications, but what I found out in that time is that he was taking about double the amount.
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
Was this your observation?
I saw it.
Okay, overruled. Thank you.
He wasn't
Please continue.
paying all of his attention on me.
Taking about double the amount that he told them was his normal.
One time,
when he
he
started
fell asleep with the TV
the
on.
process. So after a few, it's, I think, months of going, what is wrong? And, turning him over when he vomited at night or checking his pulse.
Oh, he didn't like that.
There were,
I'm vomiting that night?
all of a sudden I just, when
That bedroom
I
would
realized
smell.
the amount was about double, I realized then he had been lying to them and me about the amounts so that he could get extra high before he had a detox. But that I can't that I was so it was such an agonizing few weeks, months. It was so agonizing. I don't know how long it lasted, but I was so concerned for this
You're an angel,
person,
sweetheart.
and
You're
he'd
an
just
angel.
been doubling up his meds because he didn't.
You were so concerned.
So, Michelle, can you
He
pull
just
up
kept
1092,
napping.
Defendant's
He
Exhibit
just kept
1092?
napping. After he had a lunch, he fell asleep. I heard it in some languages called a siesta.
Amber, did you
One
take
time
this
he had a
picture
big
of
beefy
Mr. Depp?
Reuben sandwich with French
did.
fries.
Your Honor, I'm going to move
And he
the
fell
admission
asleep.
of Defendant's Exhibit 1092.
All right, any objection?
No objection.
All right, 1092 in evidence. You can-
He was watching PBS all the time.
Can you describe
The documentaries were driving me
the
crazy.
picture and why you took this picture?
This was during that time when the prescriptions that he was on in the doubling up of the opiates got so bad that he was like this just throughout the day, off and on.
all
and
the
he
time.
would take Adderall and he'd be really animated and ready to go, and then it would be this again, and it was so erratic and so it changed so quickly, and I naively now really did not understand what was going on.
I didn't. Because you were like
I
20-something
deeply
years
cared
old.
about this human's well-being, and
This
it was
human.
very confusing and scary.
My
So
ex-husband's
is it from
well-being.
time then that
Don't
Mr.
don't
Depp went
recognize
into
him as your ex-husband at all.
for
This human,
oxycodines or whatever they're called.
I couldn't cope.
Yes,
It was hard
when
on
he
me.
finished filming, the plan was to do the detox, and that's what we did.
It's
when
all
was
about me.
That would have been early August of 2014. I believe we left. We were there for, I think, a week to 10 days, 8th through the 18th.
July,
Yes.
August. It's
And we've
about 2
heard some
months later.
testimony about this, but can you please describe for the jury what took place during this detox on the Bahama Islands in August 2014?
So July, August.
It was, for the first few days, okay, peaceful. The nurse, and then later nurse and doctor were staying on a different part of the island.
Now we're about
A few
6
minutes
months away
drive,
from getting
by
married.
ATV, like 10, 15 minute, by one of those ATV vehicles. But we communicated via walkie-talkie and occasionally through text. And it was okay at first, and then the behavior, then it just really wasn't okay. It was up, down, he'd be mad at me.
Now, she's going to describe his detox and how difficult it was on her. Forget about his testimony that it was the most difficult, one of the most, if not the most difficult thing he ever had to deal with. Whatever a full-blown detox would be. And he describes in detail in his testimony and how difficult and what he went through. And meanwhile, she couldn't handle it. It's all about her. Why didn't you just get over your detox quicker or better? Why couldn't you be happy during your detox? I mean, why? Why couldn't you spend time with me?
Then he was wanting a hug. He cried a lot, and then he
Just listen to her narcissism. It's coming up.
wanted to have sex a lot, which is just not
Poor
like
you.
Johnny at all.
You see him smile. I mean, really. Oh, it was so horrible married to Johnny. I mean, multi-millionaire movie star. He wanted sex all the time. It was like, oh my God, it's like, it's so horrible. This is so horrible. I don't, oh.
And it was just like that. It was just up, down, mood. And it was like I felt like a constant was catering to the mood. That whatever he was going through at the time, I was just trying to adapt and kind of roll with it and provide support. I was taking his blood pressure. I was on a schedule and constant communication with the nurses about delivering the meds, giving him his meds at a certain time. I was just trying to take care of him. And a few days in, I guess the effects of the detox really started to change. And it went from this like erratic behavior up and down to just really down or mad. He would burst into anger at me, yelling at me. I crossed the table.
Oh, you just, oh, he's going through detox. Don't take it personally.
Luckily, it was...
No one told you that? I mean, the doctors didn't tell you nothing? I mean, nothing? He was going through, was it, if her testimony is true, was it nice and kind things he said to her? No, it wasn't right. It wasn't nice. It wasn't kind. He's going through detox. Listen to this narcissism.
Shaking it and screaming, and at a different point, he was really calm and sweet, and
no, he's shaking his head,
thanking me. And then another, he looked like he was balancing out, and we had a conversation, and he was saying he's
going through detox,
like quit the detox, and he couldn't do it anymore. And I was trying to find the language to encourage him. I was trying to remind him how much he wanted that.
The language that you use with your filthy mouth?
How much I was reminding him, he told me all the time, I saved his life, and he wouldn't be doing this without me. And I was telling him these things, and I was, at one point in our conversations, I told him about how...
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Please try to continue without what you said, please.
I said something to him, and he got so angry at me, he slapped me across the face. But he did it, like, while crying. It was the weirdest thing. He was crying, saying no woman had ever...
He was dying inside.
Him like that. No woman had ever made him feel like that. I heard that for the rest of the trip, too. Just...
I'm in detox, and she was probably bitching and moaning at him. Why can't you spend it? Why aren't you better? And why, what about me? What about me? What about me? Not that it's proper behavior, but if her testimony is truthful, 100% truthful, I mean, my God, probably slap her and get her to shut up and just leave me. I'm in detox. Can you have a heart?
And I felt bad. I feel bad. Still feel
bad.
Please.
Babe of the woods. He's laughing. Yeah, you still feel bad. They're both laughing.
It just was over my head. I don't know how to detox someone. I don't know how to help them through that. And I shouldn't.
It was so tough on me. It was tough on me.
Why were you there?
I couldn't have empathy.
And I didn't know that was a phenomenally dumb idea. I don't know why anyone...
I don't know why I couldn't have patience.
The doctors and nurses didn't tell me not to. I didn't...
Kindness, caring.
I had no idea.
Patience.
What that was going to look like.
I had no idea. I'd have to be patient.
We're on an island. I'm trying to take care of him.
He's shaking his head.
Hallucinating and...
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
Overruled. Screaming at me for things that I said when I didn't say any. I hadn't said anything.
No,
I would tell him, Johnny.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Well, I think in the context, Your Honor, it's not offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted.
What's it for?
It's just telling the context of...
I'll sustain the objection. Thank you.
Please continue and just say what he says and what he did and what your observations were.
He was accusing me of having a man in the house with me. We were in a single, in a cabin. It's basically one room with a closet and a bathroom. I mean, there's nowhere hide, really. I mean, there's a closet and a bathroom. And he, at one point, told me that I was hiding somebody in the house.
He told me I wasn't pretty anymore.
At one point, he was communicating with someone not in the room. It would yell at me and then yell at someone else who wasn't there. And I tried to
Oh,
ask
he's
for what I
he's
should
got
do. I
he's
didn't
like,
know what to
oh my
do.
God, she's
terrifying.
acting
Strange.
the best performance of her life
The
here.
whole week was...
She may be telling the truth, but my God, it
After
comes
you
off
left
as acting.
Bahamas and finished with the detox there. Where did you go from there?
We, meaning
This is 6 years
Debbie
ago.
Lloyd, Dr. Kipper, and I and Johnny, we flew back to LA, and he was going back and forth between saying he wasn't going to continue to, he was committed. It was back and forth. Everything was up, down, erratic, like changing every second. And we got to LA, and
Do you just, just listen to this narcissism. He just went through detox. I mean, it's going to be a long process of healing. If it's true, and I'm sure it is, he did go through detox, it's going to affect his mental capacity for a while. He has to heal. His mind and body have to heal together, come together. She just went, oh, it's been about a week. You've been on detox. Why, everything should be better now. Like, bro. No patience in this woman whatsoever.
Debbie and Kipper communicated with me. I won't say what they said, but I decided it would be probably in everyone's best interest if I went away to a hotel.
Yeah.
Johnny
Staff would probably be like, she cray-cray.
me up in this room in this hotel.
Get this woman
while he
out of
finished
here. She ain't helping him
process of
healing.
Detox in LA, and I had my friends out with my girlfriends there to support me as per usual.
As per usual.
So let's, Michelle, can you pull up 272?
As per usual. I clipped my nail. I cracked my nail. And I had a horrible day. So I needed my friend around me, as per usual.
And after you both returned to LA, did Mr. Depp communicate with you by text while you were apart, while he was
Codependent.
Yes, he did.
Your Honor, I'd like to move the admission of 272.
Any
Defendant's
objection?
Yes, Your Honor, to the first message. Excuse me, Your Honor, to the
You
second.
mean the response?
Right.
It's just present sense of impression, but I'm understanding Your Honor's rulings on that.
Okay.
So
If you want to redact it,
can we
that's fine.
redact that second message?
I don't know, can you? Are you asking the judge? Or are you telling the judge, I'd like to admit it with redactions? This judge has had to school her a number of times on
All right. Any objection to 272 redacted?
No, thank
things.
you, Your Honor.
All right, 272 is in evidence, and we will publish.
And Amber, I'm going to show you now what is Defendant's Exhibit 272, and this is on August 20, 2014. It's a text message from Mr. Depp to you. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And just so that we can highlight here, he's calling you, he says, just to let you know that I'm fine, my angel. I miss you, of course, but this was the right thing to do to speed up the process. I love you more than life. Yours, Steve. Do you see that?
I do.
So what, if any, expressions was Mr. Depp giving you at this point that he was angry with you?
Yeah.
Having to help participate with the detox or to be on the
Yeah,
island
that
or
text
anything
message
along
doesn't
that
look like that.
Objection, form, compound.
I'll allow it, but just for trying to keep the record clear, 272 has already been entered into evidence without that redactions, and there wasn't any objection. So I would wish if I could have both sides to keep track of their evidence. It's not my job to keep this.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just got a note to that effect, so.
Okay, so 272 is an evidence without, you can clear the redaction and publish it. It's really the party's responsibility to take care of the record, not mine.
Thank you,
My
Judge.
apologies on that one, Your Honor.
Yeah, it is your fault.
All right.
I don't know if her attorney's going to
Now
get
you
many
can
more
reject the
cases after
explanation.
this.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, can you remind me what the question was?
Yes,
That's fair.
that's fair. I said, what, if anything, did
She's
you
pissed at her
say about
attorney.
that you were torturing him on the island and he didn't want you there?
There is
Very
nothing.
confusing for me to hear that, because even though he was hallucinating and angry at me at various moments when he would have these kind of episodes, I did nothing but try to take care of him. I'm not a nurse. I did my best to support him, and he thanked me. He thanked my mom.
Your
my
best
dad,
wasn't that good.
and told me, of course, I saved his life.
He was being
That
kind
he
to
wasn't able to
you.
make this change without me.
He still
And
loves you.
This process was horrible and hard on him and us and me.
Oh, and
It
me,
was so painful that I
narcissism.
was there for him.
You know,
Okay, we can take this down now.
this process was hard on him,
Down.
and I
gonna
recognize that
Take you
now.
up to September.
I could have
October
been more patient in
2014.
hindsight. I could have done
you
this in
remember
hindsight.
filming
I
that
wish I
night
did
too
that
in
in
that time frame?
hindsight. Nothing like that. It's all narcissism.
Yes, I do.
And what, if any, connections did you have with Mr. Depp in that time frame?
Well, I bargained with him about me doing the role. He told me he would call the actors. It was a mostly male cast, but I bargained with him.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Don't say what you said, just say what he said, okay?
He reluctantly kind of agreed to me working on this movie or taking a job. He was filming a different movie in London at the time. I
So now we're
going
into
to play a sexualized character.
September,
I wore makeup,
October.
or minimal makeup in the movie. No sexy clothing. No kissing scenes. No
How
sex
could he
scenes.
control that? It wasn't his
So
movie to
I
control.
made that film in
The director
October.
would have been like, the producers and directors would have been like, this is the movie we hired you for. This is the story. And the story involves you looking a certain way, acting a certain way, kissing a certain guy, or what, for a certain scene. And all of a sudden, Johnny says, I can't do it. Oh, okay, we'll just change the whole movie because of Johnny. You're kidding me. I mean, you're kidding me. She had so much pull that all she had to say is, I want to change all this. Or Johnny's uncomfortable with all this, and they're going to change the entire movie that they hired her to do, which he's not involved in any way, shape, or form. He has that much.
October of 2014 in Georgia, while he
October.
finished his movie in London, and then
She said
some
2004. I think
came
she
out,
means 2014.
to pick me up in Georgia, and was there for my last day or two of filming.
I'm going to ask you to turn to, Michelle, can you bring up?
I only
310?
pulled my husband's heart out of his chest with 2 op-eds because there was technically one done on the 18th, which was
Do you
online,
have
and one on the
communications
19th.
with Mr. Depp about auditioning for another role in this time frame?
Objection, Your Honor. I'm
You're-
going to object to the exhibit.
You're a babe in the
It's
woods.
hearsay.
You're a babe in the woods. You're so innocent. So innocent.
I'm not sure who's in the text exchange.
It is a text exchange, Your Honor, so, but the green is Mr. Depp. And the one I'm most focused on is on the second page, Your Honor, the top.
The green bubble on the second page?
Yes.
All right, so just that text?
Based on Your Honor's rulings, yes.
Any objection to that text?
No, thank you, Your
Okay,
Honor.
if we can get that redacted.
270 something.
And while that's being redacted, Amber, let me ask you, what, if any, anything was Mr. Depp saying to you in this time frame? We're talking in November 2014 about you not working anymore or not taking on any more work or auditioning.
Start crying.
Objection, Your Honor. Compound.
Just cry every time she asks you a
Overruled.
question. Start with
Overruled,
crying.
I'll allow it.
Thank you.
Objection overruled. Okay.
Johnny was angry with me for working. I had finished my job and I needed to eventually find another job, meaning a movie, to work on. And
Why?
he
No, but just
was very-
like why? You are engaged at this point for about 6 months or so. 3 different engagement parties. You're engaged, and you feel the need to work.
furious at me for he found
Not that you
they call them
shouldn't.
sides. They're just pieces of an audition pages.
But was it urgent?
And he found something that had been sent to me to consider auditioning for, and he blew up at me for yeah, I think what he said to me is that I didn't tell him, that I didn't ask him, and that because he didn't know about that audition that I hadn't done yet, that I had been hiding it, and was furious at me.
You know, if her testimony isn't true, is not, think about this. They're going to be married soon. Maybe as married couples, they should discuss what roles they would like to do so that maybe they could discuss when they could spend time together, where they could spend time together, things of that nature. So
I ended up not doing that audition, I believe. Well, there was a few, 1 or 2 in that time that I did put I did audition for, and
Baby, I'm gonna
1
go
or
out for
2
this audition.
that I didn't.
okay,
I'm going to ask you now to take a look at
When
what
do you-
is,
when do you think that, filming's going to start on this? I have this project I'm working on here because, do I need to say it? I'm the number 1 actor in this family. I'm the earner. So, unfortunately, we didn't come into this both superstars. Only one of us is a superstar. You're on the rise, baby, but so maybe you could let me know what you're considering so I could tell you what I already have planned.
Defendant's Exhibit 310.
Would have been nice.
Do you recognize this email from Mr. Depp?
Yes, it's a text.
Your Honor, I'm going to move for the admission
It's in evidence, 310.
Oh, okay.
Is that
I was thinking-
Oh my God, she doesn't even know what's in evidence.
Please tell the jury about this text and the context.
This was Johnny's response to me apologizing for having an audition.
Thank you. All right, now I'm going to stay in November of 2014. And did there come a time
Now we're in November.
that
November of 2014. Thanksgiving. They're going to be married close to about 4 months or so afterwards.
Mr. Depp told you that he understood that you were not going to accept any more jobs, that you were going to stop working?
Well, Johnny said this to me in an argument, in a fit of rage.
Think
So
about
that's
the
why I
words
describe
before
it.
you lie.
And kind of alluded to me having agreed to not work anymore, which if you don't know me,
If you don't know me,
is
I'm a workaholic.
is-
I'm a social
preposterous.
climber.
There's no way I would agree to that.
I crave
Although I did make
attention.
concessions. and
I
gave up a
crave
lot of
public
Objection on
notoriety.
hearsay.
That wasn't,
overruled.
thank you.
She craves attention and
So he
notoriety.
reached out to other people and to me to that effect.
She craves
Furious at me
fame.
for
If you know me,
taking meetings. There was one in particular I wanted, one meeting I wanted to take because it was a project in development with a sci-fi writer. And I remember I wanted to take that. These things were just, they were just constant fights. But in between them, when things were good between Johnny and I, he would be,
the man I loved.
he would word it to me like, I'm trying to look out for you. You say that you don't want to be.
Maybe he
objectified.
was a few times.
You're doing it to yourself, but at first it was because I dressed a certain way or had sex scenes, and then it just got more narrow and more narrow and more narrow what I could do without being the blame.
Sandra Bullock, constantly
for
naked.
Why the industry,
Julia Roberts.
Hollywood, the entertainment industry was putting me in a box and objectifying me. So it became my fault. I mean, I believed it. I believed it. I adopted a lot of these changes myself, not because Johnny
Meryl Streep.
said you have to do it this way, but because of all the other things that he said and did, I eventually found myself making decisions about my own career, about how I dressed, about how I wore my hair, how I presented, where my eyes were cast when I walked into a room. And I believe those were my own decisions.
Amber, did there come a time in November?
Because God forbid you're such a narcissist, you can't take advice from a seasoned actor so that you're taken seriously in Hollywood, that you're more than TNA, you're more than a pretty face. Maybe he was trying to guide you to taking roles that can truly advance your career. But no, I'm Amber Heard. I'm Miss Narcissist. Johnny, you can't tell me what to do. You tell me to look directly in someone's eyes, which all people should do in conversations. Oh my God, you told me to dress appropriately, which maybe you should. You don't walk, on an audition looking like a hooker. You told me to act respectably. How dare he?
November of 2014 that you engaged in some couples counseling with Dr. Cowan and you and Mr. Depp?
We attempted to. I had
No,
stopped
he's
seeing
shaking
a
his head.
therapist at the in 2014. I couldn't sustain seeing her and be in the relationship with Johnny, and I chose Johnny.
He's like, oh, that's news to me.
Dr. Kipper introduced me to his close
Really? You
friend,
say like,
Dr.
really?
Cowan.
That news to me.
And I met with Dr. Cowan and agreed to let them share communication about my care, my treatment, both what I said to Cowan and what I said to Dr. Kipper, who had become my physician as well. He also put a nurse on me that would be my travel companion, and that travel companion would keep tabs on me and report to Dr. Kipper, who reported everything to Johnny.
Objection, hearsay. Calls for speculation.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay.
Okay, so let's pause right here, and we're going to stop here on this would be video 6, our part 6 of this. I hope you enjoy testimony. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm kind of honestly reacting to some of these things because I've heard a lot of testimony, but since it's in the middle of this is the afternoon session, which generally happens around 2:30, 3 o'clock, and they go to about 5-ish, 6 o'clock, right around there. Those are the times where I got stuff going on, got to go to work, things of that nature. So some of this testimony is fresh for me. And it just, again, I've said it before, it just kind of irks me. She may be so sincere. She may be telling the truth 100%. But to me, and this is my impression, it's just she seems so awfully fake. Just so awfully fake. But if you enjoyed the video and the reaction, please hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe if you can, please. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Love you. See you later.